Hello and welcome to the Grianaig Creations Podcast. This is episode 61. My name is Kirsty and I am coming to you from the rather chilly west coast of Scotland. It was -1 this morning. I know it's been a lot colder in other places, like my friend Ellen had -3 last night. Whew, it's cold. So that called for my Eartha sweater, which you guys saw on 2, maybe 3 podcasts ago that I finally got finished. So this is definitely coming in handy to the point that I am actually already particularly toasty, so all good. So this should be a relatively short podcast. I don't have much in the way to show. I'm also waiting on text message to go socially distancedly meet a friend just to give her an item that I'm about to actually show off. So it might get cut into segments, it might just be one podcast, we will see, but I wanted to show off this item before it goes away. So without further ado, let me just show you some of the things I have finished. So because I don't know when I'm going to get the text message, let's just show them off. So I decided to try and further my sock knitting, and there's something on this one. And I don't know if anyone remembers, but in one of my previous podcasts I said that I'd made so many pairs of socks for myself last year that I really don't feel the need to knit myself more this year, but I love knitting socks, so I thought what better way than to continue knitting them and enjoy knitting them in the process, but make them for other people. And there's a downfall to that. I'm going to put these down, stop waving them around. My downfall is that I'm not a proficient sock knitter for other people. Trying to get the size correct makes me a little worried. I wouldn't say anxious, I would just go with worried. Oh, I'm toasty. I'm going to roll the sleeves up. So yeah, I haven't mastered knitting socks for other people and getting the size quite right. I made a pair for my best friend, she says they fit perfect. Amazing, really happy with that. I'm still not quite 100% sizing for my mum. I seem to make some pairs that are bigger than the other pairs that I've made, or pairs that are slightly smaller, and they all still fit, so still trying to get that one worked out. So I thought, right, let's challenge myself, let's make a pair for my friend, and because she lives in the same town, it'll be a lot quicker to get like a feedback from her. So I decided to drop her a random message and be like, hey, random question, what size are your feet? And I explained to her that I was trying to get better at sizing for other people, and that's exactly what I've done. These are sock tubes that I cranked on my circular sock machine, and then I've just added heels, toes and cuffs, and I can't wait to get a feedback from her. Even if it's not today, then within the next couple of days or the next couple of weeks I should get feedback from her, and I'm going to be like, yeah, please don't just say they fit, I need to actually know they fit. So if they don't fit, tell me. I will not be disheartened, I won't feel hurt about it. Like, I need to get better at sizing for other people. So these are going off to their new home later on today, if the weather stays nice. It was raining for a little bit earlier. So yeah, I hope they fit. I really do hope they fit. I used a sock ruler, and whenever I could I was checking them against the sock ruler. But I'll probably go more into like how I do my socks a wee bit later on in a different podcast. So yep, I'm really happy with them. She loves the colour choice. She says they're perfect for her. I don't know if the length of the leg's going to be too long for her or not, but I will make sure to get plenty of feedback from her at some point. So that's number 1. Okay, we've got 4 pairs of socks to go through, so buckle up. These are from my mum. These are shorties. The reason they are shorties is because I have been having issues with my circular sock machine, and basically what happened is the tube was literally double from the bottom of that cuff to the top of the toe. That's double, that was the length of my tube. And I was just like, what on earth am I going to do with that? I could have turned them into hand warmers, but I would have had to lengthen them somehow. I couldn't turn them into a normal length sock for my mum, so I decided to ask her, would you wear shorties? And she's like, yes. And so I cut the tube in half, put the toes on, and then I have actually done the heel and the top of the shorty. I've hand knit that as well. So yeah, I got a pair of shorties out of, like, I would have got one sock out of the tube I got out of this, and so I made the most of it and made a pair of shorties which included hand knitting just a wee bit, which does not bother me. So that's the yarn. I think I want to say this is kind of like an opal yarn. I'm just not sure. This could be the Walnuts yarn. I don't know. It was leftovers, it was just scraps. But I'm still really happy with them. My mum hasn't seen them, but she has tried one on. She says they fit absolutely fine, because I decided to do the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. I haven't done a Fish Lips Kiss Heel for a while, and I've never made one for her, so that was really interesting. But she says they fit. I don't know if she's just saying that or not. I'd hope not. I hope she's being honest with me. Number 2. You've seen these as a whip. They are now finished. Or at least, I think you saw them as a whip. If you saw them as a finished object, apologies, but I think you saw them as a whip. This is yarn from Knit Picks. This is Knit Picks in their Felici sock yarn and in the rainbow colourway. This is leftover Drops Fable in their black. I've done a heel flap and gusset. This was done on 2.5mm circular 9-inch needle, and it was also done on 68 stitches, because when I knit on a 2.25 and 64, it's just a little bit too tight for my mum. So these are for her. They are still in my ownership. She wants any socks made between now and her birthday to be saved up and then gifted to her as a birthday present, which I'm more than happy to do. Number 3. And number 4. So you're probably going to recognise this main yarn. It is the same as this one, and these are for my mum as well. These were a tube I cranked last year on my circular knitting machine, and the toes and the cuffs were done last year as well. So the only thing I've done this year is put on the heels, because these were just sitting in my drawer waiting to be finished. That's all. Like, they were literally just waiting on a heel being put in. So pop the heel in, and these are going to be for my mum as well. So that's pair number 4 and the last of my finished objects. Wow, I think this is going to be the shortest podcast I'm going to do for quite some time, or I've done in quite some time. Okay, so the next project you have seen on here before, and it is my Marled Magic sweater. Marled Mania sweater? I think it's Marled Magic. And I haven't done much progress. I think you guys last seen it, it was down here somewhere, so I have not done much progress at all. Doing seed stitch, not my idea of fun, and that is all this section is. It looks amazing, it feels amazing, I just don't like doing it. So yeah, all these stitch markers represent a repeat, and I have to do 28 repeats, and I've done 11 repeats. I need to do 28. So yeah, Oh no, I am showing you the front, that's fine. Like, it's going to be great when it's done. And I think I'm going to have to set aside like half an hour to an hour each day just to put some work on this, otherwise it's just going to sit for a long time. And that's primarily to do with my next two and last projects to show off. Like, I sped through this mesh section, and now I'm really struggling to get through the seed stitch, but again, that's just because it's seed stitch. Nobody wants to continually do knit one, purl one every row. Well, no, some of you might. Oh, I've got yarn time. So yep, Marbled Magic Sweater. That is being knit alongside my friend Amy, who is Odd Knits. Is that it? Is that the only? Odd Knits Amy? Odd Knits? Odd Knits _adventure on Instagram. Okay, let's show this one. Now, this project I am in love with, absolutely in love with. And it is my Mount Pleasant tee. Look at the colour! I do have a ring light on to help with the colour, so if it might come out just a wee bit too bright, but I'll be able to tell more when I've got it on my computer. This is the Mount Pleasant tee by Pip and Pin. I will link all that down below. I am currently knitting this with 2 balls of yarn. I am doing the helical knitting method. So you'll be able to see 2 different strands of yarn coming from this project. I'm quite sold on helical knitting, if I'm honest. I'm not overly bothered by pulling, but I feel like this could pull in a very interesting way because of the yarn and the pattern itself. But I am working some increases at the moment, so it wouldn't maybe pull too badly. Pulling is just a natural thing that yarn sometimes does, not always, especially if it's got more than one colour in the skein. It's not a fault in the yarn, it's just how the yarn knits up. So yep, this is the Mount Pleasant tee. I have just passed the first increase in the repeat, and I've got a second increase to do, and then I've got to knit until it's a certain length, and then I will split for the front and the back. And yeah, it's a crop top as well, so it's going to be a quick knit, and I cannot wait to have this finished. Like, I'm in love with this project. I'm in love with the yarn. So the yarn I have posted all over my Instagram about. I've talked about it. You might have seen it if you watched my bonus episode. It is La Catrina Colourway, and it is by Lovebugs Yarns. I wish I could show you a photo, but I've actually cut the yarn bands up and put them into my journal for this year. And if anyone wants to know more about that, I can discuss that at a later date. So that is being kept in one of the bags I've sewn, and it is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's covered in cat hair. And then lastly, this project is just making me so happy right now. When I'm having a particularly bad day, or I don't particularly have a ton of energy or motivation, this is what I tend to go to if I feel I just need to keep my hands busy. And this is my granny stripe blanket. I don't know, can you see the bottom? Yeah, you can. So the last time you seen this project, I hope I'm not ripping stitches out. Last time you seen this project, it was all the way down here. I have managed to put about 20 plus rows on. Oh, I can never really count this. I've put 28 rows on this blanket, and that might not seem like a much, but to me that's quite a good amount. I just like having this draped over me, I tend to sit cross-legged on my bed, which is really bad for my posture right now. And so having it draped over does keep me particularly warm. And I love this project. There's so many colours in it, and it's just really nice to have. I had kind of ran out of yarn, and I put a plea out on my Instagram, and Amy came to the rescue. And so far I have put in all the smaller scraps that she gave me. I've made them into a ball, and I put in the smaller scraps. Now what I'm doing with some of the bigger scraps that she gave me is I'm putting either one row in or 2 rows depending on the colour changes. And I'm also putting some scraps that I have as well, just like these are my bigger scraps, and I want to put like maybe 2 rows in max, and then see if I've got a pair for like see if I've got enough yarn for another pair of socks. So yeah, this is bringing me a lot of joy at the moment. I don't work on it every day. I certainly haven't worked on it recently. I think I last worked on it last week. But I am still loving this project, and I am not choosing the colours when I put them in. These were all in a magic knot ball, but I feel like there's a lot of dark colours in this. There's a lot of blues and grey and dark purple, and there's actually a fair amount of black in here, so I really want to start trying to get back to brighter, bolder colours. So we'll see how I get on. I can only try. Oh, this is not going to work. Wow, did I really get all this done in 17 minutes? Why have all my other podcasts been so long? I guess I'll do a wee rambly section. I am trying the curly girl method. I don't have all the things I need to actually really get this to look decent, and also this is really just my first day of trying. I am going to order a couple of things online when it comes to payday, and I'm going to try the curly girl method because I used to have really beautiful long curly hair as a kid, and then I went for a haircut and it's like we just chopped all the curls off and they never grew back. And then all of a sudden I got to about 25 and my hair just started going wavy again, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is interesting. But there's some days where it's just major frizz and it's just like a slight wave in my hair, so I'm just like, right, okay, let's try it. If it doesn't work, then so be it. But I'm particularly pleased with day one results, and that's not using half the products a lot of people recommend. There's no gel in it, there's no hair custard, I don't know what that is. So yeah, like, this is just conditioner and a tiny little bit of hairspray. I'll admit there's a tiny bit of hairspray in there, which you shouldn't use in the curly girl method, but I had nothing else to kind of hold it, and because I'm going to be going outside, I didn't want the weather to just screw this all up. I'm still off of work. I have a goal for my return date. Again, not going into reasons as to why I'm off, but I am off work at the moment. I do have a goal to go back in February, and I'm working towards that goal with one of the managers in the office, because unfortunately my manager is off sick at the moment. So yep, that's happening. I'm looking forward to going back. I'm just hoping that I don't get into my old habits, which is taking on too much work and stressing myself out. I mentioned this slightly earlier. I have a bit of a crafting journal that I am working on, where I have what's called a HP sprocket, which is a little mini printer. It's about that big. And I'm printing off the pictures I take of the projects, whether that's right at the start of my supplies, halfway through, and then at the end. And this is just so that come halfway through the year or the end of the year, I can have a flick through it and be like, oh yeah, that's what I made this year. Because my memory is terrible. I have absolutely horrific memory, I just realised I put my bracelet on back to front. I have a horrific memory. It's like a goldfish. So I decided to kind of start like a scrapbook journal, and I'm loving it so far. I'm fairly up to date with it. Like, I worked on it this morning, mostly because, again, the socks are going away today. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say. This is the shortest podcast I will be putting out for probably quite some time. But I guess I am trying to keep to a regular upload schedule, and I guess that will probably help. So I'm going to call it quits here. If anyone's got any questions, pop them down in the comments below. If you want to know any more about some of the stuff I've talked about, again, pop it in the comments below. You can find me on Instagram as Grianaig_Creations. You can find me on Ravelry as little-b. I do have a blog, and again, all those details and the spelling is in the description box down below. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode, and let me know what you're up to. Let me know how your weekend's going, how your week's been. But yeah, I hope you all stay safe, and I hope you're having a lovely day. Bye!